What's up, everybody? It's Mark from 403 Fauna, along with.
Jason Radass Designs.
Welcome to the Fauna Topic, where every week we talk about relevant issues to the ball python industry as well as the reptile industry. Today, we're going to be talking about stages of a ball python keeper. We're going to have a guest on today for a little bit. Let's get into our week. So, Jason, how was your week in regards to ball python and life in general?
Life is good, it's what you make of it. It's all in your attitude. And it was a good week, even with my boss calling out the last couple weekends and other people calling out and all that kind of stuff. I just do my thing. And ball pythons, let's see. I keep waiting for that het clown to lay eggs, and I'll go check on her in a little bit and see if she has, but I mean, it's still a tiny bit early. What else? Mostly, I mean, I finally sent some snakes out the other
All
day.
right.
I'd meant to send multiple packages. I have like some pending trades and stuff, and the printer that is new had like some little hiccups. It takes a while to get used to a printer that's brand new rather than 11 years old. So after printing a label for what I was going to ship, it just didn't seem like I was going to make it to FedEx in time. So I had to delay a couple things till next week. But a snake that I had won in an auction like a while back, months and months ago, and then another snake I was going to trade that person for. We're both finally ready to do that swap. So looking forward to that. Um, but just have to wait a little bit longer. Um, that's pretty much it. Oh, I did have a baby bell pass away, and that was unexpected and surprising, and um seemed healthy otherwise, but um it's sad. It's sad. But other than that, everybody's been eating and chilling. I cleaned every single tub that I have, so I don't know how many that is, like I don't know, 65 or something. I got some Pro Coco from Amazon, and the local pet shop here in the desert didn't have any more bricks and wasn't planning on getting any more. So they carried that product, and so I just ordered some. And a little bit of cypress mulch in with some of them, and then some of the babies just got fresh cypress mulch. So yeah, a little rearranging of things, and I put a snake that I showed on here like a month ago, 66% het for monsoon, like banana calico male. He's really pretty, he's really big. And I put him in with a banana pied female that had met a banana clown that I got from the collection a while back, but shipped off like last summer, and nothing had come from that. Um, so I put him in with her. In fact, they've been in together for like a few days, so I should probably go check on them. Other than that, everything just is normal.
All right. Quick question about your shipping labels. Do you print them on stickers or do you tape it onto your box?
Tape it. It comes out on paper through the printer,
Yeah, that's
just
what I
like a
did.
stencil or anything. And then I remember Antoine saying in the past, Antoine Hood said he would uh, completely cover them with tape. So that way, if they get wet, they're not likely to get torn. And whenever I ship a box of any kind with packing tape, I make sure that there's nothing that's like frayed, it can catch, and someone can just pull the tape or it can get snagged on something. So I use a lot of tape. especially if I reuse a box. Some people don't believe in that. They say you shouldn't reuse boxes ever, but I do sometimes, and I save them and I break them apart and use them for like custom shipping of all different kinds of things, not just live animals. But I always tape everything, so there's never like a seam to a box that can be snagged. And again, that shipping label is just always completely covered with clear packing tape, so that nothing can potentially get ruined.
Right. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's pretty much what I do as well. Okay, so for my week, I got in results from RGI for shed tests. I was actually pretty surprised at how fast they did it. I know initially when they started offering shed tests, people were waiting like several months to get their results. And
Yeah.
mine was like as soon as it got in, the next day they had the results. So that was really cool. I got some very good surprises, and I'll have a video on Sunday sharing that. But I had
Cool.
some VPI Xanthics proved to be het puzzles, so I'm
I
really
saw
excited
that
about that.
post. I saw that. That's so cool. I mean, you could just tell when you
Yeah.
hatch those just by looking at them.
And the male, he was actually in with a female. I anticipated him to be het puzzle, so I put him with a girl and to get some 50% possible het puzzles, and sure enough, he turned out. So I'm actually going to use him a little bit more this season, so I'm really excited for that. And just the usual, I'm still waiting on eggs myself. My red stripe female should be towards the end of the month. As we both know, it doesn't fall exactly on 30 days. It might be before that. What was the longest you've had after the relay shed that she went for you?
I would. It was pretty standard from what people will say, but I have heard that people have had them go like an extra like 15 to 20 days
Mm-hmm.
and start to be wondering and then start to be worrying that, maybe I need to take them to the vet, maybe they're getting egg bound. I know that there's a local rodent breeder out here that I was going to trade a PVC rack that's just extra to me now. I'm not utilizing it right now. And I just wanted some like rodents to not have to, to feed and not have to pay for. We had talked about this trade, and then he just was like flaking and like just wasn't happening. I couldn't get a hold of him, and then eventually when I got a hold of him, I'm like, hey, do you still want this rack? Like I'll take even less. Just like give me what you got. Like just having anything to feed will be good right now, and you can have this rack for a good deal. Like I don't even care. And he's like, oh man, yeah, I didn't tell you. Like what had happened is I had this big Reddick, and I've had her for a long time, and I bred her, and she got egg bound, and she died. And that's why I wanted the rack from you, because it had like 24 spots, and that would have housed them at least initially. And sometimes that can happen to reptiles. It happens a little bit more often with like certain creatures like chameleons, but it can happen with any egg-laying species.
Mm-hmm.
It's not reported as much in the wild from people noticing it as it is in captivity, but it's something that people worry about when certain dates don't hit perfectly. And when you have fluctuating temperatures, some people like heat their rooms with ambient, some people heat their tubs with panels and it's too hot. There's everything in between that all affects that the egg laying process. And yeah, but generally it's like 25, 26, 27 to like you know almost 40 days for some people.
Right. So, as we know, we give a shout out every week to the winner of our problem of the week. And this week, our shout out goes to Sean from Steel City Reptiles. Now, I'm going to do something a little different going forward. For the winners of the problem of the week, I'm going to offer them a spot here to introduce themselves and talk a little bit about themselves. And I know that there's previous winners out there, and it's an open invitation to any previous winners to come on as well and just share a little bit about themselves. And we actually brought in Sean from Steel City Reptiles, and
Cool.
let's put him on the stage right now. Hey, what's up, Sean?
What's up, everybody?
What's up? I didn't even know this was gonna happen. We got a guest.
It's funny because I saw him post something about you this week, and I thought,
Yeah.
oh, that's cool. So it worked out really good. So,
Yeah,
Sean,
it
tell us
did.
about yourself.
Well, I'm an old guy,
Like us.
younger, you know. So, just finding something that, well, I've always been into reptiles. I've owned quite a few, caught them when I was younger, and this is kind of something that I'm kind of full time getting into. So I have something to sustain myself from, just getting into a new way of life. You know, I kind of turned over a new leaf, and this has been a good outlet for me.
Now, when I see Steel City, I think Pittsburgh. Are you from Pittsburgh?
I've been getting that a lot. No, I'm from Coatesville, Pennsylvania,
Okay.
and it's also known for their work in the steel mills and things like that.
Does that
Gotcha.
make you an Eagles fan, Sean?
Or does.
They've been getting better in recent years, so it's pretty
Yeah,
cool.
yeah. After I stopped watching,
Mm.
it was too frustrating over the years. I gave it up. I'll check on them every once in a while, but I can't sit down and watch throughout the season. It drives me crazy.
Hmm.
I know there's a big Pennsylvania contingent of ball python keepers. Have you met up with anyone out there yet?
Not yet. I've been trying to find some people, but it seems that they're a lot more spread out. There's a lot of people in Pittsburgh. I've actually talked to a few of them, but I haven't met too many people in the Philadelphia area. I think about two that I have actually, met up with, because I got one snake from one of them, and then I got another from another guy, and pretty good snakes. The I don't know if you guys follow my page, but there's a pastel spider pie that I got from one of them. I believe his name is Brotherly Love Exotics, something like that. And yeah,
Yeah.
he's from out of Philly or Philadelphia. So that's one that I met. And then there's another guy, I think like Norristown or something like that I got a clown male from. And I'm a little confused on what he is exactly, but
Yeah, I've seen a picture of him. He's a really pretty clown. Every once in a while, clowns hatch that maybe it doesn't seem like they have anything else or they shouldn't have anything else, but they're just like extra pretty and
yeah,
don't dingy out as much. And Sean and I are friends. He won an auction that I had posted many months ago, and it was in the middle of winter and couldn't ship for a while, so we had to wait. But we've become great friends in between that time, and he showed me a picture of this snake, and it's a really nice looking clown male.
right.
And yeah, I don't know if he has something else in him or not, but he should age really well. You can tell if he has fire or if he has something else. I don't know, but like he probably will age really well. But yeah, going back to like meeting people and networking with social media nowadays, and going to shows and Facebook groups or whatever it is that you're linking up with people in the hobby. It just takes time going to all your pet stores and building a social media following and interacting with people and getting people's attention. it just takes time. It came pretty natural to me because I was in the hobby before for so long, and I'm such an outgoing person. But it does just take time to network. It takes effort and time to make friends in the hobby and to align yourself with other people and share stuff with them and learn from them. It just takes time.
Definitely, and it's been great. I haven't met too many people in person, and I haven't been able to go to too many shows, but so far it's been great. I've met Jason. I've had a few other interactions with people that I wanted to either buy snakes from or I bought snakes from. So it kind of makes things a little easier for people to be willing to talk with you, to share experiences and things like that. So I've been definitely blessed, I say. And I'm looking forward to meeting more people as I go on and just having more fun. Just more fun.
Yeah, it's a fun hobby.
And here you're on your first podcast with us, right?
Yeah, this is awesome.
Yeah, see, you're gaining ground already, getting to know people already. There's people getting to know you, and you don't even know them yet.
Right.
And that's how it goes.
We'll definitely put all your information to share out with everybody. Any last questions, Jason, for Sean here?
I will just say that Sean's been super patient about me shipping, and sometimes in this hobby, that people are in it for learning stuff and for gaining knowledge and leveling up on how to take care of different things. And some people are in this, with this latest boom, they hope to make some money off of it, or at least have it be self-supporting. And sometimes the relationships that you have and that you build, you actually you get more than that. You just become friends with people. And
Exactly.
that's more important to me than anything. And Sean and I have become like trusted friends, essentially. I've been going through a lot lately. I don't really talk about it on the show, but me and Sean relate in certain life things, and we've been encouraging and supportive of each other through those things and the mentality of it. And it just goes to show that you never know. You could put a snake in an auction on a website somewhere and then get like a great, long-term friend out of it potentially, which is, worth more than money.
Exactly.
So,
Exactly.
I didn't know you're coming on the show. It's pretty cool.
I didn't
I'm
know
glad
that
you're
one
here.
myself. It's been awesome.
You
Sorry, I
just
just
keep
threw it
sticking
out
with the
there.
hobby. You start breeding some stuff, and you make a bigger social media presence, and then maybe in the future we'll have you on again.
Yes, sir.
Most
Thank you.
definitely.
Been
Thank
great.
you.
All right.
Have a good one.
You too. Thank you.
Take it easy, Sean. It's good seeing you.
Later, everybody.
So that was really cool having Sean on here.
Yeah, he's a good guy.
Give me a moment here. Okay, I lost my slides. 1 second. Okay, I need to pull up this problem of the week. Give me a second here. Jason, you want to skip to the rat-ass snake of the week right now?
Yeah. Just give me 1 sec, everybody in the audience. I'm gonna go get a simple snake, but my favorite of all my snakes. And if I had to somehow get rid of most of my snakes, this would be the one that I'd for sure keep. No matter what, if I was like homeless and backpacking in Hawaii, this snake would be in my backpack. Hold on.
So we just had Sean on from Steel City Reptiles, and I'm going to offer anybody who answers the problem of the week correctly a spot here to quickly just share themselves and just put your face out there. If you want, it's not mandatory, so don't be shy about guessing on today's problem of the week. We'll get back to the problem of the week after Jason shares the rat-ass snake of the week. This one, I think it's not that difficult of a question. But let's check out Jason's red ass snake of the week.
All right. So I was in the hobby a long time ago, for a long time, and I had ball pythons here and there. They were just kind of basic. Back in the day, if you got from a pet store a ball python that was like golden or like high yellow, almost like how like a yellow belly would be or like a fire, and sometimes they probably were that, but you'd be excited. And so I would get ball pythons like that from time to time. And then when I started breeding rosy boas, which is my favorite species of snake, and they range all the way down Baja California up through Arizona into Southern California. And there have been reports of them even being at the bottom of Utah, but that's not really confirmed, but that's about their range. And I traded a whole bunch of my albino whitewater rosy boa offspring to a guy, I believe it was in Florida, and he had a lesser ball python. It had a completely black back. It was just a really exceptional looking ball python. And later there became all these like white snakes from the various bell complexes. And I knew at that time I wanted to make a white ball python eventually. So as fast forward many years, I go through a lot. I'm out of the hobby for a long time. I find Morph Market because my cousin gets some ball pythons, and talking to her about them, I knew that something was sparked in me again, and I wanted to get reptiles again, in a different place in life. And I knew that the first ball python that I was going to acquire would be a white one.
There you go.
So this is Lucy, and I got her a couple years ago, just over that. And I started my new job about 2.5 years ago. I had talked to this person about in Colorado about this snake. She was 1,600 grams. So she was an adult. I told him, like, as soon as I get my first paycheck, I assure you I'm getting this snake. And some time went by. I was busy with work, and he took the post down, and then he tried to pair her with her father, who was also a bell. Nothing came from that. So I don't know, like a month and a half or something went by. I was like, hey, I'm sorry, man. Where's that snake that I told you I would get? I promised I was gonna get it. I told you. And he's like, oh yeah, I tried to pair her. I can tell that nothing's happening. Um, you can still have her for same price or whatever. And so she was 550 plus shipping, which was like I forget what that was. It was almost like almost $100. I don't know. It came out to 652 even. That's what I paid for her. She showed up as an adult female, and I kept her in like a tub that I bought from like Home Depot or Lowe's or something, and I put like a heat pad under it, and
Mm-hmm.
she was okay in there for a little while. She did well. And then I bought a $949 422 Vision cage, which is in the new charcoal color, and is my favorite cage. I always wanted one of those Vision cages. People that had Vision cages when I was in the hobby before still have those Vision cages.
Right.
If they had kept them, they still work, they still last. And so I bought one of those. It took, I don't know, less than a month to show up. They said like 5 weeks or 6 weeks, I think, but it showed up in like less than 4. And I put her in there. I put live plants. Her cage has gone through a whole lot of like variations, but a lot of times there's live plants in there. There's cork bark tubes. She's got a giant corner water bowl that she likes to sit and soak in sometimes.
She is very well behaved and
Oh
perfect.
yeah, she's super super chill. She's never gotten weird or spasticky or aggressive or anything. She is a butter Mojave, and she's either hypo or het for hypo.
Mm.
But
She's
I mean, I
clean.
could probably get her tested. She's probably actually a hypo when I look at her eyes outside and different things, but I wouldn't know 100% for sure without breeding stuff out, but she very likely is hypo. And she's just awesome, so not like a big guessing snake for this week, but my favorite of all my snakes. And there's a lot of people that really like bells. And the more you get advanced into the hobby and you're breeding for all these complicated multi-thousand-dollar breeding projects and stuff, you kind of don't want to make bells. You don't want to hide traits. But they're my favorite. And I have white rosy boas also.
Nice.
But she is my favorite snake, and she's very well behaved. And she gave me my first self-paired clutch. And unfortunately, one of her daughters did just pass away, but all the other babies are doing really good. She laid 8 eggs. One went bad right away, and it took 20 months from when I received eggs in a lay box. So it was a test of patience, and she's just awesome.
Yeah, I heard that the Mojave butter or lesser bells are the best ones. They're the cleanest ones. They don't have any of the eye issues that other bells may have. Super Mojave has a great head. So exceptional example of a bell there. Okay, now if you wanted to follow Steel City Reptiles, here's his information. So Steel_City_Reptiles on Instagram. I'll link his stuff in the information down below after this show as well. So be sure to give him a follow. Now let's get to our problem of the week. Again, the problem of the week will get you a segment here if you want it. We're not going to force you to be on here, and also make you eligible for a drawing at the end of the year for a stake from both myself and Jason. So 6 people in the audience right now. I believe Quest won before, so feel free to guess Quest as well. And if you want to come on the show at some point, Quest, just DM me on Instagram and we'll give you a segment here. Okay, our problem of the week is, since we're talking about stages of the ball python keeper, we brought in Steel City Reptiles, who's at the beginning of those stages. And this is something we've both went through, and I think every keeper goes through this, but what is usually not a problem for first-time ball python keepers? I hope this question is not too confusing, but A, lack of motivation. B, too many males. C, unfocused collection. Or D, being open-minded to criticism. So what is not a problem for first-time keepers? Have you had any issues here with any of these as a first-time keeper when you either started or got back in?
Well, the way it's worded is are these things not a problem? But we know that when people enter the hobby, it's very addicting, and it's always surprising to me from all my time in pet stores and in the hobby and getting to know people and watching their collections grow when they only stick to like a couple really well cared for animals. Like a lot of people that get into the hobby uh, get something, take on the responsibility of it, learn about it, take good care of it, and then add something else that fascinates them and sparks their interest. And before you know it, it grows. I mean, there's lots of people with pugs or Pomeranians or Chihuahuas that have like 15 of them. And so it's an addicting hobby, and for most, and some people have more addictive personalities than others, and some people just kind of stick to having one item or a few animals, and they take really really good care of them, and they kind of just stick with that. But most people that really get a lot from the hobby and partake in it a lot, their collections usually grow, even if it can sometimes get to irresponsible levels and they have to start getting rid of stuff.
Mhm.
But that is a problem that people do have sometimes, that I have had at times.
That's too true. Okay, we have a winner. We have Scaly Piggies Adrian. We had multiple guesses for the correct answer here, but lack of motivation. I think every keeper goes in it just like guns blazing, super motivated. And I think that's what's going to separate those people that get out and stay is that motivation. So,
Yeah.
Adrian, message me on Instagram and I will give you a shout out next week. And if you want to come in and join us for a little bit of segment, we'd appreciate that as well. So, message me on Instagram.
Cool. Good job.
Okay, we did our red ass snake of the week. Morph Market, I haven't been really on top of Morph Market lately. Have you sold or?
No, I looked a little bit, but essentially no. I was thinking about last week posting some stuff. I was gonna post some leopard geckos, and I was gonna post some snakes, but I did not. And I just looked really quick at a couple of things, and that was it. So, um, yeah.
Let's take a quick scan through. Looks like Ball Pythons 101. There was one here that I thought was pretty cool. Let me see if it is still on here. Right here, this lithium genetic stripe, female, ready to breed. And so far, it's only at $165. I know not everybody loves the G stripe, but it's definitely something I'm working with. So,
Yeah, it's a
pretty cool animal.
cool snake.
Lithium is a combo between what, Jason?
I should know that. I think it's like I think it's like uh butter and something else I can't remember. Is it cinnamon? I don't
There you go.
remember.
Got it. Butter Cinny.
Wow, I had to reach far back into the memory banks for that. Because like in the beginning, I was looking at the the morph calculators, and then you would see all these things like jigsaw and lithium and all these different like names for crosses of genetics, and I remember that one and thinking at some point early on, I was thinking, well, that would be a cool one to make.
And there's the genetic stripe form. It looks like the patternless ball python, right? There's not much of a stripe there.
Basically, yeah. I mean, if I was in the market for acquiring more snakes, I would be really, really interested in that snake at that type of a price range, like a few $100. Like that's a cool snake. It's gonna always be kind of pale and it's gonna be simple, but you can do some things with that when you cross it. So, um, pretty cool.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
So
Simple
we'll
but
get
cool.
back to some morph market talk a little bit later as we go through our topics today. So let's
Mhm.
go back to the slide here. So we're going to be talking about stages of a ball python keeper, and I kind of broke it up into years 1 and 2, 3 and 4, and then 5 and beyond. And I put some questions here just to, you know, keep my mind on the topic here. But the first 2 years, both of us have experienced it twice. And some of the questions people at this stage should consider: how much thought was put into your early purchases? I know a lot of new keepers tend to just buy what's cool. That's what I did when I first started. But having that experience before and going into it again, you you become more focused. At least I was. Were you more focused the second time around, Jason?
Yeah, I mean, I felt so, but then a lot of the things that I initially was like, "Oh, okay, I'm gonna I'm gonna go this route. I'm gonna kind of go this path as I start to just add a snake here and there." And I found myself over, the course of the first year going back and forth on some of the plans that I had and sometimes even circling back around like to Exanthics and um yeah, it takes some vision and some foresight into like what you really want to accomplish long term, because you don't want to waste, generations of a project going a direction that you're going to change your mind in later or isn't going to be very efficient. And then sometimes you just gotta roll the dice and go the long route. Um, but yeah, I definitely thought that I knew exactly what I wanted to do and then changed up and then refocused. But definitely different than my first time in the hobby where I would just get whatever was pretty.
Yeah, I totally agree. I went in like, I'm gonna do clowns, I'm gonna do pieds, I'll start there. And then you start adding some things here and there. You fall in love with things, you fall out of love with things. And it's definitely a continuously changing process. I think no matter what stage you're in, it's something you're always going to be rethinking. Now, when you came in the second time, did you start with babies or did you have some adults to
Well, I
get some?
got that I got that bell first, and then I started to get like juveniles and like well-started snakes and just raised them really fast. Yeah, I kind of switched gears and went from the boom of all the price hikes you to in order to get into like a project or something cool as you expand like what you're thinking long term and what you want to get a snake that's het for this or that and like it was more affordable a couple years ago to get babies, so I started getting babies and juveniles and then raising them, and now those snakes are adults or close to it. And then after a while, I started wanting to just breed more and just kind of like speed up the clock. And then I started buying more adults. And then I took on a whole collection, and that had a lot of adults in it. And it had a lot of medium-sized snakes that I parted with and liquidated a little bit. And now I have lots of adult ball pythons. Probably probably more than I really need, and that becomes tough, and you this project's cool and that project's cool, and you start to spread yourself a little bit thin, and I've done a little bit of that, and I should have probably been able to avoid that, but there's so many cool projects with ball pythons genetically, and I have a lot of options with the genes that are in my collection. So I will need to thin down a little bit right now. So I will post some stuff in the auctions and kind of sacrifice a couple of breeding directions just in order to better take care of the ones that I have, and just
Mhm.
kind of be grateful for what I have, and just kind of ride that out a little bit rather than trying to have my hand in everything. So that's an ongoing process. We'll see. I definitely would like to, as simple of a project as it is, make exanthic clowns. So some of the snakes that I'll be trading for and some of the snakes I've acquired will create those. But that's definitely something that would be not a very complicated project, and something I'll have to wait out like another year or year and a half, but um, will be a cool day when I see it. I went to this guy's collection. He had passed away last year, and I went over to his home and talked to his family and helped them out and assess the collection. And it's like every other, it wasn't, but it felt like every other tub that I opened was another Xanthic clown. And I was like, man, this guy really had, I'm not sure how many he had. I think it was like 30 something or like close to 40 Xanthic clowns that he had. I don't know the exact number. Maybe it wasn't quite 40, but it was definitely a lot. And they're simple, and I think that it will be really fun to make one. It's not really about money. I'm sure by the time I one day do make one, that they won't be worth what they are now. But I just want to make one. So I I wanted to make bells. I did. Now I want to make Xanthic clowns, among other things. But eventually I will.
Yeah, I think one thing we should go into as breeders is to make the stuff we love and not necessarily think about the money, even though the money aspect is really good. But if as long as you're working with stuff you love, you're going to continue having that passion and motivation for the animals. Now, I got to
Yeah.
say, one thing I see with some new keepers is, man, they got those ARS racks, they got those freedom breeders behind them. I got to say, I'm a little jealous because I'm still here with my PVC racks on year 4. But did you start out with your ARS, or did you?
Yeah, I started out with like some Home Depot tubs. I started out with buying a vision cage, and then I bought a showcase cage, which is not quite the same quality, but I got it used for a few $100, and they retail for a similar amount. Um, and I have them stacked. And then I started getting PVC racks, and PVC racks work great. You know, I got a sea serpents like V18 little rack for like hatchlings and juveniles and whatnot, and that rack has served me very well. And I got, you know, a bunch of the reptile basics type stuff. And they stack, and they work pretty good. And nothing against PVC. Like it's gone up in price a lot, material wise, but they work really good. Especially like I really like the VE6 racks.
Me too.
Um,
Yeah.
they are. I wish they were a little bit taller, but for smaller snakes that you're raising, you can find certain caves, like certain like little homes for them and hides, and the size, width and lengthwise is really good,
Mm.
and they work really well, and they're easy to find used. They're easy to purchase and have shipped to you and put together, and I like them a lot. I just got lucky and got the Freedom Breeder rack that I got locally. It just kind of landed in my lap. I like to think from good karma from years past, and it is a really good rack. It's 2070 tubs, so it's like a dual rack. And like if I had done everything all over again, I think I would have saved up and bought one of those from the site, or maybe gone up to Central California. Essentially is where they're at, like in Turlock. Like I probably would have gone and picked one up like right away once I knew that I really wanted to get into it. um it's just a really good rack that works really good, and it's stainless, and you can wipe it and make it shiny clean. And I really like that and recommend that. ARS has a lot of good things. As far as I wasn't able to acquire one, and I don't know if I ever will now, but the ARS rodent racks are really nice, and you can really set yourself up well for maintaining your collection affordably by getting one of those rodent racks and breeding either mice if you want to deal with the smell, or soft furs. um, that's a good move to level up in the hobby. But their snake racks seem to show up a lot, even though they're a good company, great customer service. They say I hear a lot of reports of them showing up with missing pieces, and it's a headache to put them together if you haven't done it before. And if I was to get someday an ARS rack, I'd prefer to get one that's lightly used and already assembled, or brand new, like at a show, and
Yeah.
just drive it home. Like maybe you'll do this summer. I like the Freedom Breeders a little bit better, but if I was gonna get rodent racks, I definitely would get the ARS, even though the Freedom Breeder ones I've seen that people have, and I've seen them in person, they're very nice. but I just liked the ARS ones that I saw last summer. And yeah, either way, you can't go wrong. And some people will say, hey, invest heavily in infrastructure. If you know that you want to grow and you know you want to keep this species of creature and that you want to breed it and propagate and you want to, buy and sell and trade and you want to stick with it, then you really a better move is to hurry up and get a rack. Save up for it, get one, whether it's at a show in person or whether you pay the shipping and you have the company send it to you. Like it's going to set you up for long-term success. And then there's some people that would say, well, I made all my racks out of melamine or wood, and I ran all the heat tape because I'm handy with tools and figuring stuff out, and you can do things more cost affordably in DIY. And then those people spent their money on quality genetics and then bred stuff and did really well. They just really took to the hobby. Maybe they had experience before, or maybe they just were a natural and they just really got really into it. And they created enough offspring and enough inventory to then sell and trade and then like make the money to then buy racks. Some people would say that's the better way to go because you're propelling, your collection. But I would say that the most important thing to keeping reptiles, and I kept them back in the 90s when a lot of things were still left to learn, and we're learning stuff every day. But back then, a lot of stuff was like wild caught, farm raised, captive hatched, like a lot of the things weren't being cared for. A lot of the books have since been updated and a lot has been learned. I mean, when I first had ball pythons, they mostly were kept on like aspen shavings or pine shavings or some sort of bark chip, but not like cocoa. They weren't kept humid. They were probably kept a tad bit too warm. They weren't assessing like parasites and internal things like very well. And we've come a long way in the hobby, and it comes from trial and error. It comes from research, comes from learning, and it comes from taking better care of the animals by reproducing their in a better way their wild environments in captivity. So that's really something that's super important. Ball python's a very tank and hardy species, and you put it in a little tub with a little bit of a heat element, or you even keep it in a room at ambient temperature, and you're not likely to have too many problems. But if you really do your best at creating a nice environment for whatever reptile you have, it's gonna do better and it's gonna reward you better. And I think that's where the racks, like the freedom breeders and the ARS, they go into having um, a really solid, smooth, and efficient like system for running electricity to it and giving these animals what they need as far as like space and warmth. It really like kind of streamlines things. And um, I think that getting infrastructure, getting equipment is the best move you can make early on to best take care of your animals.
Very well said. Let's move on to our next segment here, which is year 3 and 4. So I think after the past year or two, we've seen how many people have been dropping out of the hobby after being so excited jumping in during the pandemic. And this is the point where, you've got some clutches under your belt and you're deciding whether it's for you or not. Doing 11 clutches last year for me, that was pretty overwhelming as a full-time teacher and taking care of 11 clutches. And this year I decided to take on 6 classes. So I haven't had a break during the school day. And it was pretty overwhelming for me. And next year I will have a prep period. I think 12 to 15 clutches is my point at this stage in my life. And I think that's pretty handleable. And I'm already counting the years when I'll be retiring. And I've always had this 10-year plan of just building up my collection and leading towards retirement. And then once I retire, I'll have everything running. And I seem to be pretty on target with that. Now, you're also in this stage. I know you've had some issues recently. Has there been any doubt in your mind about getting out right now?
No, I do need to thin some stuff down, just to make it a little bit more manageable from the adjustment to life changes that I'm going through currently. You know, everything's good with my job and whatnot, but I just need to prioritize stuff a little bit better. And I have so much stuff that it's gonna be more fair to the animals and be more efficient for me to thin things down a little bit. And also, I'll say, unfortunately, I have to admit that I didn't charge my phone. I was talking to someone before getting ready for the show and didn't have my phone plugged into the charger so that it wouldn't drain it. And I came onto the show like with half phone battery capacity. I'm so sorry, Mark. And so, in any time, my phone is now letting me know, even though I turned like I dimmed it, like try to get every last second out of it. It's going to boot me soon. My phone is gonna shut down. But I will say that some people don't know whether they're really deep into reptiles and they want to keep them for decades and decades and decades and learn, like some people they have dogs their whole life, some people become cat ladies, like sometimes you get way involved in it, sometimes you burn out, or sometimes there's just life changes. And sometimes you just don't want to have mouths to feed, or sometimes you want to move. And so people enter the hobby and sometimes they leave and then they come back to it when they're in a different place in their life. And sometimes some people find out that, boy, I got a lot to take care of even just with my kids and my life. So like it can sometimes take a toll on you. And that's why I left the hobby before, is because I basically had like a zoo worth of stuff and it started to own me. It was just too much. I took it as far as I could and I learned a lot and I had a lot of fun. It was very rewarding. But yeah, I don't see myself leaving the hobby this time back. I just need to adjust a little bit, and some people will also feel that way.
Yeah, I'm at the point where I am going to revamp the collection as well. Need to let go of some of the males I've been hanging on to and just focus more on the projects that I really want to focus on going forward. Okay, so with that in mind, that your phone's
I'm
up here,
sorry.
no worries. We're almost done. We actually have just one more slide here, so let's get to that. So year 5 and beyond,
Hmm.
um, I'm not making a profit yet, but hopefully at some point you will, if that's your plan. Some people just want it as a hobby and for it to pay itself, which is perfectly fine. And I know some people who are in it and they really haven't innovated their collection. Maybe they're just producing the same things over and over. And I'm not one to tell anybody to do what to do, and it's perfectly fine if they're happy doing that. Do you ever see yourself building a facility for your collection, or would that be too much for you?
I think there was times where I thought about creating like a rodent production to just have so much that I never have to buy a rodent ever again, and then I can like help people out, give them good deals, recoup some money, stuff like that. But right now, that I've had to rethink that and adjust that, and I think in the future I will be in a situation where that would be something to consider again. But no, I think I don't think I'll ever like get to a point of where I'll need to create a building to house snakes. I think I've had all the reptiles I've ever had in my life. I've always found a way to put them in a dedicated bedroom or have them all throughout the house, as some people will. Like, I don't think I'll get to the point where even if I could like afford it, even if I had like say got a home and had like a garage but didn't need to park my car in it and like turn that into like a mini facility. I don't think so. I think I like having them in a bedroom. Yeah.
I know I've seen a lot of people recently starting to branch out into other species, branch out into things like selling rodents or selling cocoa products. So me personally, I just want to focus on the ball pythons and just go with that, be an expert with that. Any last words here, Jason, before we call it a day?
No, just that I appreciate Sean coming on today. He's a really good guy, and you'll meet a lot of good people in this hobby if you put yourself out there. And what else? It was nice to be able to share Lucy with you finally. She's my favorite snake. Pretty simple, but definitely my favorite snake. And I hope everybody out there in reptile land has a snake that they feel the same about. And sorry that my phone is so low, but we will see you next week with more topics. And appreciate everybody viewing and then seeing it in the replay. And thanks.
Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you, Sean, Adrian. Maybe we'll see you next week. Have a great day, everybody. Take care. Be safe. See you later.
See ya.